thank you for watching. Today's video is going to be a Q&A. I have not done a Q&A on my channel in a very long time. I really don't know when the last time I did one. I think it's been quite some time. I'm actually pre-filming some videos because I will be on vacation in Arizona for a few days over my birthday. And so I was trying to think of a few videos that maybe wouldn't be like super challenging to film and edit kind of thing, and I thought maybe it would be a perfect time to do a Q&A. So that is what I'm doing today. I asked on Twitter and Snapchat and Instagram stories, and I got some questions in. So I'm gonna try not to make this too long, mostly just because I'm actually leaving for Arizona the day after I'm filming this. So I'm trying to get all my videos edited and uploaded. So all I have to do on vacation is just hit publish, and then I can keep enjoying myself. So I'm gonna try not to make this too long. So I do apologize if I skip over any questions, but I will do my best to respond to everybody's. But why don't we go ahead and jump into this Q&A. Alrighty, so from Twitter, we have XO Ashley Amanda X said, what was the first brand to send you PR? The first brand to send me PR, I didn't look at the questions beforehand. I was just screenshotting all of them and saving them in a folder. I think it was Sigma Beauty, or at least they were like the first bigger brand to send me PR, but I want to say that it was Sigma, because I mean, I can really remember like getting so excited over getting that package. I still have the package, the original package that they sent me, because Sigma was one of the first like high-end, the first high-end brand that I was purchasing makeup brushes from. All of my makeup brushes before I was buying from Sigma were like the $1 and $2 e.l.f. brushes, and I had purchased them from BH Cosmetics, but those Sigma brushes were the first time I was like kind of splurging on makeup brushes. So I just kind of always remember for them to be the first big brand to notice me and to send me a package. It just felt really, really cool. And then we have here from Emily Nunn. She has two different questions. She says, any tips for smaller creators? Some of my biggest tips for smaller creators, one would be to try to be consistent with posting, whether, you know, however many days you decide you want to post a week, but try to be consistent with it instead of posting like one video here and then like 3 weeks later posting another video. I think people like to see consistency on YouTube. I would also always recommend not to get too caught up in the numbers. Sometimes it's so, I don't know, I just get so sad for some creators who contact me and are only ever talking to me about the numbers or views or subscribers or something, because I feel like that takes the fun out of having a YouTube channel, and like no one's forcing anybody to have a YouTube channel. You're supposed to be doing this for fun for you, and so I think sometimes when you get a little bit too caught up in the numbers, it takes that fun away. So don't pay attention to that stuff at first. It's always good to grow, and it's good to see growth, but if you get too consumed by it, I think it really does take the fun out of having a channel. A tip of mine would be like, before you start really investing in like equipment, camera, lighting, editing, things like that, starting to work on having a big old makeup collection, that sort of thing, is to make sure that this is something that you really want to do. Make sure you get comfortable on camera, make sure you like the process, like make sure it's something for you and that you really like to do before you start putting a bunch of money into it. So I think I had my channel for a year before I purchased a camera, and then before that it was just off my phone. So that's what those are a few tips that I would give. And then her other question is, if you could only buy one new thing from Sephora, what would it be? Right now in my cart at Sephora is that Marc Jacobs bronzer that I wanted so bad. I talked about it in a Will I Buy It video like a couple of weeks ago, and I was like, I am getting that bronzer, and I'm getting it. Don't talk me out of it. I almost placed my order the other night, but I was like, I know it's gonna come while we're gone. And I just hate the thought of having packages sitting outside my door, especially one that says Sephora, and I'm gone for 5 days or 6 days. So I'm like, I'll wait till I get back to order it. So next up from Haley on Twitter, she says, what is your favorite book genre? I love you and your videos so much. Thank you. My favorite book genre, definitely chick lit is like my favorite. My book blog that I have is called Chick Lit Plus. I love chick lit. I love just being able to escape into a different world. Chick lit is kind of, I describe it as like women's fiction, but it has a more humorous, lighthearted tone to it. The complete flip side of that, I also really enjoy like thrillers and suspense novels. Like two very different ends of the spectrum, but those are two of my favorite genres to read. From Paris Grace on Twitter, she said, perfect timing, been wanting to ask you a question. What do you recommend as a facial cleanser to fully wash away makeup? My favorite cleanser to remove makeup is the Dermalogica Pre-Cleanse. It's a pricier cleanser, but I have repurchased it myself, and I just think it's the best at getting rid of all of my makeup, my eye makeup, my lipstick, my face makeup, everything. I go through that stuff pretty quickly because I just think it's the bomb. Dermalogica Pre-Cleanse. Katie from my Vanity, hi Katie, she said, what is your biggest goal for 2018? That's a good question. I feel like I have a couple goals for 2018. One of my biggest goals for 2018 is to kind of like, I don't know how I would describe this for sure, but kind of like get on our feet again. My husband lost his job in January, and it's kind of been like, it's kind of been, you know, just a weird couple months of dealing with something like that, because I mean that's a pretty big deal if you've gone through that. It's a pretty big deal. We actually went through it as a family when I was a little kid and my stepdad lost his job, and I can actually remember it happening because his work actually burned down, and it was a night where a bunch of the guys came over and were discussing it, and it's something that sticks with me because even though I was such a little girl at the time, I can vividly remember those guys sitting at the table discussing this, and some of them were crying because they were so upset about it, and it was just one of those things that you always remember. So you know, it's obviously a big impact, but getting back to like a good rhythm I think is a really big goal. But to go along with that is having Mitch get a job or a career where he's really happy and he's really passionate about it. I quit my job at the hospital probably 6 years ago, 5 or 6 years ago, I think it was, to pursue being able to do books full time. I'm a published author, I'm a book blogger, I work for freelance editing, proofreading, marketing for authors and things like that. And I went full time to be able to write more. And then around that same time, it was shortly after I left the hospital, I'm pretty sure, is when I started a YouTube channel. So I don't know, I kind of just call myself like a full-time dream chaser is my job title that I give myself, because I do so many different things and I wear so many different hats. But being able to do this full-time, whether it be YouTube, whether it be my book stuff, being able to do that full-time is something that makes me so happy, and I feel very lucky and grateful and blessed. And I also remind myself how hard I worked to get here. But I've been able to do this for so many years, and kind of one of my big goals was, you know, while I'm off here pursuing my dreams, like my husband is still doing the corporate job and he's still doing an office job that he doesn't like, and he doesn't love doing it, but he's doing it because he was our stable income, he was our health insurance, you know, things like that. And it was always one of my goals to get to a place where I'm like, okay, you know what, I'm good, I can take care of us right now, let's focus on you, let's figure out what it is that you want to do that makes you happy. Because sometimes I would truly feel like guilty because I get excited to work every day. I'm excited to wake up. I'm excited to come into my home office and work. And I would feel, you know, bad when he would come home and be so upset, and he would take home work baggage and he would just talk about disliking his job so much. But I think he felt for a long time that he had to keep doing it for us. And you know, I think losing the job was really, in a way, I really do think that it is a blessing, because I think what he is going to do next is something that he is very passionate about and very excited about, and he'll be happy to go to work every day. So that's a big goal within my personal life. So I kind of went off on a tangent there, but that was a big goal in my personal life. I would also, book 6 should be published sometime soon. She's in proofreading right now and cover design, so it's out of my hands at the moment. It just depends on how quickly my gal who was hired can get through all of that. But book 6 will be published. I would love to publish book 7 in 2018 as well, but I don't think that it will happen. It's being written right now. I have a bunch of scenes written for it, but I would love to at least have it like in editing or even in proofreading in 2018. I think that would be pretty amazing, because my next 6 books are in a series. It's a 6-part girlfriend series, which I'm really excited about. So that's a pretty big goal of mine as well. I would also love to travel out of the country in 2018. One of my biggest loves is travel, and I have not been out of the country in a very long time, and I would love to be able to do a really amazing trip. You know, we have some life changes ahead of us, and I'm turning 31 soon. That's why we're on this vacation in Arizona. I turned 31 on the 23rd of March, and I know that kids are coming sometime, so I would really like to do a big trip out of the country. So those are some of my goals for 2018. Thank you for the question, Katie. Speaking of babies, I got 2 questions back to back from Candace. Hi Candace, one of my friends here. She just said, babies? And then the very next question that came in from Snapchat from Coops Mammy says, do you plan on having children? I think we do plan on having children. We just don't really know when. I could see it probably being within the next couple years or so. Like I said, I'm 31, so I know that I'm not getting any younger. I will say that having kids has never really been like my top priority. I'm not one of those women that's like, I was born to be a mother. I don't feel like I have that like nurturing gene in me. And also from Coops Mammy, she also said, how many siblings do you have? I have an older sister and also a younger brother. From A. Tercy this was on Instagram, she said, for the Q&A and also a general concern, how are you guys doing with Mitch's job situation? Has it gotten any better? It definitely has. I know for the first couple weeks, I mean, I feel like it's just hard when you go through a big situation like that, and like, no matter how positive you try to be, you're just like, wait, what just happened here? But it has been getting a lot better. He is working right now, so that's fantastic. And like I was saying, that I think what he does next will be something that he's really passionate about. It's more than just like he just went out and got a job. It's a really big life change, career change for, you know, especially for him, but it will also be for me as well. It's just going to kind of change like the dynamic of things, and I think that we'll have to move and all of that. But as things are still kind of processing and we don't have like, anything like super official yet, I don't really want to like say anything yet, because once I do, you'll understand why I'm saying this, but it's a little bit more layered than just saying like, yes, he got a job type of thing, but it's going in a really great direction. And so thank you guys for all the support during that time. Both Mitch and I greatly appreciated it, and we're so thankful for that because it really did help us. But yes, things are definitely looking up, so thank you for asking that. This is from Angela Party Coy on Instagram as well. She said, for the Q&A, I'm curious what makeup look you typically do for work. I feel self-conscious wearing colorful looks to work, but my work environment is pretty conservative. This is what I do for work. I do not go into an office or anything like that. I have a home office in our house here, and I do YouTube, you know, I do the beauty side of things, and then I also am a published author. So I actually do not have to leave my house. I will say that before I was doing this full-time, I was working at a hospital, and it was more on the conservative side, especially for like makeup and clothes and things like that. But I'm definitely such a neutral lover that wearing my neutral eye looks and, you know, nude lips and things like that, I really did enjoy that. But I will say that I did wear false lashes to work, usually on Fridays. Usually Fridays was my day that I was like, I put a little bit more time into my look, but I would pop on some false lashes, because as long as they're not like super overly dramatic, I just feel like they can kind of amp up an eye look, even if you're doing something really neutral and not super colorful. Or another way that I really like to incorporate color without being too much is to put it on my lower lash line. A lot of times I'll do something super simple on my eyelids, and I'll put like a blue or a purple or something on the lower lash line to kind of give it more of a vavoom without being like too much. So that's kind of how I would do it when I was going into the office. Let's see, Bailey LOL from Twitter said, favorite smaller creators. I actually did a full video on 8 of my favorite YouTubers under 8,000 subscribers, so I will have that one linked down below in case you haven't seen it yet. I just talk over 8, you know, smaller creators that I absolutely love and would recommend, so I will have that one listed in my description box in case you would want to watch that. From Micah Sellers on Twitter says, what are some of your favorite music artists and songs? Also, what are your favorite TV shows? My favorite music artists and songs, I feel like it always changes so much. Right now I'm totally on like the G-Eazy, Cardi B bandwagon. Every time we go out, we're always listening to No Limit. Love that. Demi Lovato's songs are really like speaking to me lately as well. I definitely do like a lot of like hip hop and rap. I actually am a rap superstar. I don't know if anyone knows this, but I am. But at the same time, I also really enjoy more like rock. I was just listening to Asking Alexandria do a cover of Ed Sheeran today. And I was putting it on my Instagram because I love Asking Alexandria. Escape the Fate, Avenged Sevenfold, Bullet for My Valentine. We just saw those 2 last bands in concert not too long ago. So it's kind of like my style of reading as well. Like I feel like I'm on 2 different ends of the spectrum there when it comes to music, but I also love going to concerts. I think they are so much fun. My favorite TV shows, I don't really watch a lot of TV. I just don't really have time, but sometimes I'll try to like record shows on the DVR, so when I'm working out I have something playing, and right now I've been watching Designated Survivor. It's kind of starting to lose me a little bit though. There's just always so much going on in that show. I also watch It's Supper Time with my husband, and the host of that show is so freaking funny. I wish I knew what channel it was on. I don't. We record it and then we watch it together, but it's such a funny dude. And he cooks, he makes food, and he explains how he's doing it, but it's just so funny. It's not your average cooking show. He's not your average chef at all. It's Supper Time with Maddie Matherson. That's what it is. And this one is from Carla on Twitter. She said, do you enjoy indie brands as much as high-end brands? I would say yes. I actually have Devinah Cosmetics on my eyes today. As always, I'll link all of my makeup in the description box, but I do really enjoy indie brands. I have my second indie brand video on my schedule, and I want to get a couple more, play a few more times with the Devinah eyeshadows because I wanted to include them in my next indie brand video. I feel like sometimes there can be a really hard balance on YouTube between indie brands and like the more mainstream brands, because when you do a lot, like this is what I've noticed for me personally, when I talk about indie brands a lot, wear a lot from them, recommend a lot from them, you know, the comments are of course always mixed, but I feel like I get a lot of comments like, well, I can't, you know, they're not easily accessible, their shipping is too high, you know, I'm not familiar with them, I don't want to purchase them yet because I don't, you know, I haven't tried them out. You know, you get comments like that, but then when you do mostly mainstream, it's like, how come you never do indie? Do you like any indie brands? Like, it's just, it's a really hard balance between the two, but I try my best. But yeah, I would say, I mean, yeah, I would say I like indie brands just as much as I do the more mainstream brands for sure. Let's see, Natalia here on Twitter, she has a few different questions here. She says, which are your favorite YouTube channels? I have so many favorite channels. My watch later list is always so full, but I have a really great group of friends here on YouTube from Liv Loves Her Makeup, Kelly Gooch, Kaylee Baute, Angelica. I feel like I'm gonna miss people when I do this. And I know us 5, we did a collab pretty recently, so I always kind of like list them off first because I remember us from that collab. But Lisa Stevens, I just met Georgia Harris. She actually came down to Iowa. We did collab videos together, which was super, super fun. So loved her. Yeah, I have so many like YouTube friends. It's so cool. But those are definitely some of my favorite channels as well. My ultimate favorite book, I feel like my ultimate favorite book from like a childhood would be Christie's Great Idea by Anna Martin, which was the start of the Babysitter's Club. The Babysitter's Club had a huge impact on my life. I read all of the Babysitter Club books, and I actually didn't have like the best childhood, went through some pretty crappy things, and turning to books really helped me. It not only helped teach me life lessons, but I felt like it kept me on a really good path, and especially the Babysitter's Club. I mean, you can probably tell from the series name that it was going to keep me on a pretty good path. So Christie's Great Idea, I felt like it really opened me up to the series. It kind of sparked my desire to be a writer, and it really did have a pretty big impact on my life. And either that one or Something Borrowed by Emily Giffin, that is the book that I read that I thought, you have to stop putting this off. You've wanted to write a novel for how many years? You're going to do it. And I think it was 2 days after I finished reading that book, I started my book blog, and I got on the path to publishing my first novel. So those 2 books have been really impactful in my life, I would say. She also asked, how do you deal with negative criticism? It's definitely tough, and for a while I felt like I was that person that was like, negative comments just don't really get to me, you know, I'll just delete them and I'll move on. But I don't feel like that's true, because definitely the negative comments those are the ones that run through your mind and run through your mind. And I always have to remember, like, okay, yeah, so you got a negative comment on this, but like, look at the 20 positive comments that came in. You can't focus on the negative. And that's what I just always try to remember. And I go back and I read my comments a lot, and I always recommend to people to leave positive comments on other videos. If you're someone who doesn't really comment on YouTube, if you can find something positive to say in any video, I think that is a really big deal, because sometimes, I know other creators do it too, we look back and we look for those positive comments, because a lot of times when the negative comments come in, a lot of times they're like personal. You know, they're attacking you personally. They're finding something about you that you're probably already insecure about, and they're attacking that. And that's why it hurts so bad. You know what I'm saying? So I always try to encourage to leave positive comments, because that helps me so much, being able to look back at them and be like, okay, I don't suck. Not everybody hates me type of thing. So Jamie Lynn from Twitter says, if you could only have one beauty product, what would it be? Pretty sure I know the answer is Pure Lashes, but maybe I'll be surprised, LOL. And how do you deal with negative comments on your channel? So I kind of touched on that one, but if I could only keep one beauty product and not just makeup, it would probably be like moisturizer in my skincare routine. I'm like a moisturizer fiend. I love having nice moisturized skin. So probably a moisturizer or an eye cream would be that. But if I had to choose makeup, it would be a concealer. My favorite concealer right now is the Urban Decay Naked Skin. So I just feel like concealer is so helpful for your under eyes. If you have any sort of imperfections you need to cover up, like mine would probably be concealer. So moisturizer or concealer. Those would be my top picks. I love that I said I wasn't gonna make this super long, and I've already had to let my camera cool down twice now. I have so much fun doing these videos. I forgot how much fun Q&As are. Okay, so it's Megan S from Twitter says, if you could have one lippy until the end of time, what would it be? I've been sitting here thinking, I think I came up with the Maybelline Truffle Tease. It's just such a nice lipstick. I go back to it so often. It continually finds its way into my purse. It's a really light brown nude. It's creamy. It's easy to apply. Like, I just feel like it's just like my go-to if I don't want to think about it, but I still want to have like a nice lip color, and of course it would have to be a nude. I think I'm going to go with Maybelline Truffle Tease. And it's affordable, so I could continually be rebuying it. You know what I'm saying? And then her other question is, but that was really hard. The other question is, what are your favorite videos, creator plus video type to watch, such as Samantha March, Will I Buy It? I know her. Or Jessica Braun Hauls. That's a really good question as well. I feel like one of the first things that came to my mind was like some of my YouTube friends, like I mentioned earlier, and I feel like there's so many of my friends that come up with such good, like, unique, creative ideas, and I get so excited when I see them post. You know, Kelly and Kaylee and Liv and Lisa and Angelica, I feel like they all have really interesting kind of like makeup chats. So I really like to watch those types of videos. I always get really excited when I see them pop up in my feed or a new tag or something like that. I love watching BabsBeauty and ThatGirlShaeXO for makeup tutorials. And then I love watching Casey Holmes vlogs. I'm not a huge vlog person, but I get so excited when she posts a new vlog because I just love Casey and I love her dogs. Those are some of my favorites that I can think of off the top of my head. I wish I could go through like my watch later list and see what's all on there, but those are a few off the top of my head. If I mention any channels or anything like that, I'll have them all listed down below. Oh, I love watching Andrea Matillano. I'm not 100% how to say her last name, but I love watching her like Shop My Stash or her declutter videos, because really any of her videos, but those in particular, I feel like show off her editing skills so well. Her editing, I think, is freaking phenomenal, and I feel like I comment that on her videos so often that there's times that I comment it and I'm like, delete, delete, delete. That was the last thing you said on her video, say something else. But she has beautiful editing. Like, I will never be to that level. So I love watching those videos because she just goes through everything so well, and she shows the product, and then she shows like a swatch, or she shows it just, she's goals, man, when it comes to editing. My friend Kelly from KBellaBeauty, she said, if you could travel anywhere in the world, where would you go, and what is your dream vacation destination? I just want to travel everywhere. Traveling has been one of my biggest goals since I was a young child. I went to school for travel and tourism because I couldn't quite figure out what I wanted to do with the rest of my life, but I knew I wanted to travel, so it seemed like a solid major to choose. So I would just love to go everywhere, but Greece has always been at the top of my list for the longest time. That is one place I would love to go, but I've recently been looking into locations like Belize. I would love to travel there. Bora Bora, I think, would be absolutely amazing. I would love to go places that are like, you know, warm vacation vibes, but at the same time, I would love to go to places that have history. One of my favorite trips I've ever taken was Amsterdam, because it was just so much history that I was learning, and you just learn so much about a different culture, the food, the jobs, I mean, how they get around everything, and it was fascinating to me. So yeah, everywhere, if that counts. Let's see here. We have NLH1987 from Instagram says, if you could only keep one eyeshadow palette to solely use for the next year, what would it be? Okay, I'm working on the if I could keep one tag that Kelly, I think she tagged me in it, but I saw her do it and I wanted to do it anyways. I've been working on that video and I'm not sure eyeshadow palette wise. I want to say Anastasia Modern Renaissance, but I feel like that's like such a cop-out. But it really is one of my favorite palettes and one that I just constantly, like when I'm traveling, it's like, oh, what are you gonna bring? Oh, I'm gonna bring the Modern Renaissance. I also kind of thought of my Dose of Colors palettes right away, but those are only 5 shades and like I feel like I need to have the option to have shimmers. No, you know what I think it would be? I think it would be my Jaclyn Hill Morphe. Because it has so many colors in there. 35 shades, mattes, shimmers, colorful, neutral, reds. It would be, yes. That's it. Morphe Jaclyn Hill. If I had a palette for only could use for 1 year, that's what I'm gonna pick. Man, that was hard. And then we have from Instagram, Infinite Midnight says, here's a question, is it better to use setting spray on brushes for applying eyeshadow or does water provide the same results? Sorry if this is a silly question. You know, I don't know if I actually know that answer. So if anybody does, leave it below. I think maybe I used water like back in college. I would run my brushes under water, but I don't really remember if that did much. And like when I started getting into makeup and after starting watching YouTube, one of my first purchases was the MAC Fix Plus and I've always used it for that. So I don't know if anyone does know, leave it in the comments, but I'm not sure. I feel like the point is to get it damp, but I don't know, at the same time I could be wrong, so I don't want to give bad advice. Let's see, Sweet Lulu 23 on Twitter says, what makes you feel insecure and how do you handle or overcome those insecurities? I feel like this video is getting really long, so I feel like I've gotten deep early on in the video, so I won't take it too deep here, but one of my insecurities is my ears. If I can show you, I just self-tanned, so don't mind if I look a little like crazy, but I am really self-conscious of my ears and like really insecure about them, so that's why you hardly ever see me with my hair up. I also just really don't know how to do hair if you can't tell, but I'm very self-conscious of wearing my hair up, and sometimes people will make comments about it. I'm like, I know, I understand that my ears stick out, but I just try not to dwell on it because it's something that like I can't control. Like I don't have control over that. My mom actually told me the story of when I was born. The doctors actually told her that I could do the ear pinning surgery like as a baby because they could already tell that my ears were going to be sticking out. And Mom declined because she said she couldn't imagine putting a baby through that surgery. And I was always like, Mom, why didn't you just do it? I was so insecure like starting cheerleading in high school because we always had to wear our hair up for games and practices, and I was like, people are gonna make fun of my ears. Like on my wedding day, when I was doing my wedding day trials, I was like, I know that I want my hair up. I was like, but can you use my hair to pin my ears down? And actually like the gal who was doing my hair, she was like, you don't even know how often I get requested to do that, so no worries. So my ears are a big insecurity for me. April says, if you could collab with any makeup brand, what brand would it be? I think it would be cool to collab with brands that I have been purchasing from for a very long time, or, you know, just been supporting for such a long time. Like Sigma comes to mind right away. I don't know if they really do like makeup collabs with people. Like I've seen them do like, you know, they kind of like curate a collection of like favorites and things like that. That would be super cool to do just because you know, that special vibe with Sigma type of thing. But also like Pure Cosmetics. I started purchasing from Pure so long ago. I talk about them a lot on my channel. I like a lot of their products as well. I think it'd be really cool to do some sort of collab with them. But yeah, just like some of like my old school brands I think would be pretty cool. So Kendra Choi says, what is the least favorite makeup product you've ever used? Well, maybe I could say the Too Faced White Chocolate Chip palette. I really did not like that eyeshadow palette. That one I really disliked, and also the Benefit Push Up eyeliner. Like I like a lot of eyeliners, and even though there's a lot of dud eyeliners, none of them have like really made me angry. That eyeliner made me angry. It just didn't make any sense to me. So the Too Faced or the Benefit, those were two things I did not enjoy. Christina Burt, or Xtina Burt from Snapchat says, question for your Q&A, would you ever consider doing a meet and greet? I just love you, you're my favorite ever. Thank you. I would totally do a meet and greet. I feel like I would be really nervous and really scared because I'm just always in my own like little bubble, but I totally would. I just don't know how I would ever foresee like making that happen. I live in Iowa, so I'm not in like LA, New York, or even something like Dallas, Chicago, you know, something like that. So I don't know like when or where I would ever be able to do a meet and greet, but it would be really cool. Like I was hanging with Georgia the other day, and she asked if I would ever do a book tour, and I was like, who would come to my book tour? You know, but maybe one day, you never know. Let's see, Amy Laura says, my question for your Q&A is, if you could pick one brand to make it onto their PR list, who would it be? Right now, I would probably say Becca Cosmetics. I love so many items from Becca. And I talk about them a lot, and I use them a lot, and I still just can't seem to get their attention. One day. Vera V. Toot on Instagram said, if you could travel wherever you want, where would you go and why? Okay, so I kind of already answered that one before, you know, anywhere, everywhere. Emily Ann Bermel on Instagram says, are you ever going to write a mystery novel? I would love to. I would so love to. I would love to write a mystery novel, and I would also love to write like a magical realism book. Those are two things on my writer's list that I just would love to accomplish. Like magical realism, like if anybody watched the show Charmed, I love Charmed, where it's like there's magical parts in it, but it's also realistic at the same time kind of thing. You know, I would love, those are two genres I would really love to be able to write. Susan on Twitter says, has nothing to do with makeup, but would you rescue or foster, or are you sticking to one breed since you already have knowledge of Avishla? I love how much you love Aries. Fun fact about me is that I'm actually allergic to dogs. I'm like highly allergic to cats, but I'm very much allergic to dogs. So when we were actually wanting to get a dog, we did a lot of research onto what dogs are hypo, and then we found the Vizsla through that way. So I think that we would definitely stick with the Vizsla. We love the breed so much. We understand the breed because they're interesting dogs for sure. We would love to do that, but we've been trying to rescue a Vizsla. We've looked on like the Iowa Vizsla Rescue, and there's a couple other rescue pages for our surrounding states. We've been looking for probably like 2 years, and there's just really not a lot out there, which is like good at the same time. But on the flip side, we would love to rescue a dog, but just really not a lot of availability. I feel like that sounds weird to say, but we've been looking for that. But Aries is 4 now, and if we do want to get a second dog, we really want to get one soon before she gets too old, which is heartbreaking to say. We want her to still be able to enjoy a puppy or a younger dog or whatnot, so we're kind of getting down to like, we either need to get another dog or we're not going to get another dog until after. I'm just gonna stop talking about that because we don't need to talk about that. But yeah, that's a big thing. So we can't just rescue, unfortunately, any dog. We would have to know exactly what kind of breed it is, and a lot of times when it comes to rescuing, at least from what I've seen, it's a lot of like mixed breeds and stuff, because I mean, it would be absolutely devastating if we brought home a dog and realized that we couldn't have it in the house because I'm too allergic to it. So that would, oh my gosh, that would be so horrible. Let's see, Katie Short on Twitter says, if you could only buy and use one brand of makeup for the next year, what would it be and why? What brand would you love to collab with, and what YouTuber would you love to collab with? If I could only buy and use one brand of makeup, the first brand that popped into my head was Urban Decay. I know I love their foundations, concealers, a bronzer off the top of my head, eyeshadow palettes, eyeliners, lipsticks. I mean, I think it would be Urban Decay. That's the first one that came to my head. What brand would you love to collab with? I answered that. What YouTuber would you love to collab with? Any of my friends that I've mentioned throughout this video, and like bigger wise, like I would love to collab with like Casey Holmes, or even like the channels that I mentioned too, like BabsBeauty, ThatGirlShaeXO. That would be so cool. Really just anybody. I would love to do more in-person collabs. After I did one with Georgia, like I would love to go to people. Like I really would love to go to people because that would give me an excuse to travel as well. Maybe one day. I know like Jen Loves Reviews is doing like a travel collab series type of videos, and I'd love to do that one day. That would be so cool. Okay, I really do need to wrap this up. My camera overheated again, and it's almost out of battery, but I just have one more question that I saw come through. This is from ABisP1911 on Instagram. It says, how do you manage your writing and makeup? Isn't it hard? You post every single day, and you test out makeup and skincare, and at the same time you write books too. How do you manage everything? That's my question. That is a good question. For me, I I'm definitely highly self-motivated, which helps. I have a huge passion for what I do, so my work to me doesn't feel like work. There's definitely times like right now getting ready for a vacation and trying to just make sure everything's ready so I don't have to be working on vacation. I've definitely felt the pressure, and I've had those moments of like I feel like I'm working and I have all these deadlines and I need to get things done. But for the most part, my work to me is fun, and it's something that I choose to do, and I just genuinely love doing it. So there's times where I will walk into my office at 7 o'clock in the morning and I will look up and it's 11 o'clock already, and I'm thinking, how did this happen? Because I just really love what I do. But I'm pretty organized. I have a lot of to-do lists. I have a lot of calendars. I keep myself on a pretty good schedule. My schedules to me are super important. Like, I'm someone who needs a schedule. So I have my morning scheduled out, my afternoon scheduled out, and I typically will schedule out my evenings as well. And it just helps me keep everything, like it helps me know what I have to do, what has to get done, what is my priority, what is something that I can put off, etc. So organization, to-do list, being self-motivated. So other than that, that's gonna do it. That's gonna be the last question for this Q&A. Oh boy. Okay, so that is everything for my, I thought this was going to be a short Q&A, and this probably just turned into an hour-long video, but I hope that you liked it. I hope you maybe found out something new about me, something that you didn't know, or anything like that. Let me know what you thought down below. Did anything I say surprised you? Not so much surprised you? If you have any other questions for me, you can leave them in the comments section, but like I said, I will be on vacation when this video does go up, so if you notice I'm not responding to comments as quickly, it is because I am giving myself a break and trying to enjoy myself in Arizona. But thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you to everyone who asked a question. I appreciate it so much. If you guys did enjoy this Q&A, I hope that you'll give it a thumbs up. I hope that you'll also consider subscribing before you go, and I'll catch you guys in tomorrow's video.